this is an excuse to quit my job. Hayden texted me randomly and said, do you want to move to New Zealand? Someone had definitely broken into our house. You shouldn't be telling me, you should be telling the police. Hello everyone, it's Haley. Alright, so first of all, I have my laundry with me right now. So I'm gonna be folding laundry. If you have any laundry to fold or anything that needs to get done, I encourage you to do that with me if you would like. I'm not going to tell you my full lifelong testimony, even though that would help with a lot of the background, but comment if you would like me to do that. I probably will do it either way. I'll give you a little snippet summary so that everything makes sense. I grew up in a Christian household. I always thought I was a Christian. I knew that only Jesus could save me, that I couldn't save myself, that nothing I did could earn God's love. But I knew it in my head, but not really in my heart. I was judgmental towards others, and I was very critical of myself, and I wasn't trying to be judgmental. I cared about people, and I wanted them to know Jesus, and I wanted them to know what they were doing was wrong, and I wanted them to do what was right. I've always wanted justice, but I went about it the wrong way. I thought I was being loving, but it was really just not. So fast forward to college. It was closer to graduation. I was very burnt out because of school, work, volunteering, newly married, all these things. And I was struggling. I don't know how else to put it, but I was struggling. I did not think I deserved God's love. I went through a period of time where I just wanted to see what it was like if I decided to go my own way, which is very dangerous. Thankfully that did not last long. And there was a time where I couldn't even say Jesus was Lord because I wanted to earn my salvation. I wanted to earn my goodness. I wanted control of my life. And I know a lot of people can relate. It's scary not knowing what's gonna happen in your life. Things started to change in 2022, which we're still not at 2023 yet. Like I said, this is when the burnout kind of kicked in. And Hayden and I both agreed that we wanted to change churches. And there were many reasons, but the biggest reason was that we didn't have a lot of community there because a lot of the young adults had either left or they just also weren't really meeting consistently. So one week we decided, okay, we're gonna go visit this church. Hayden had a lot of friends there. He was playing Ultimate Frisbee there, so he knew a lot of people already. I knew a couple people just because of mutual friends and things like that, but I wasn't close to anybody. But I was like, sure, we'll try it out. So the week that we had decided to go, earlier in the week before we went, one of Hayden's friends ended up inviting us to church, and we were like, hey, we were gonna go anyway. So thanks for inviting us, because that was perfect timing. So we went to church. We both really liked it there. They had a lot of young adults there, which was kind of overwhelming at first. It wasn't like a mega church, but there were a lot of new faces, which was very overwhelming to me, having social anxiety and not knowing anybody. And I felt kind of isolated for a while, but I still felt better. I was being fed by like the sermons, and I liked his method of teaching. And every single message, he ended it with the gospel. The way he tied it in and what the gospel message was, I had never heard before, or that I hadn't really accepted. Things really started changing in 2023, which is why it's my 2023 testimony. Let's see what happened in 2023. All right, so probably around January, I think this was the time when we thought we were moving to Texas. And I was like, okay, great. This is an excuse to quit my job because I was still very burnt out. I had just graduated and I wanted to do something else. I had worked at the same place for 4 years, just about. And as time went on, it was just draining, very draining. So I put in my 2 weeks, and I had enough saved up it was sometime in April. And I was like, okay, I need to learn how to rest. So I'm gonna take a break. I've had all this school, all this work, all these things. I need to take time to rest. So I did that. I put in my 2 weeks in January. So I quit my job in February. And everyone thought it was because I was moving and I needed time to pack, which wasn't a lie. It just didn't end up happening. We didn't end up moving. We ended up staying where we were because Hayden got a promotion. So during this time of resting was when, I keep saying this is when things started to change, but it was an accumulation, a buildup of change. And this is when the snowball started rolling, I guess. I don't remember exactly when this was, but this was maybe a month or two later that I really accepted the gospel. And I don't think before I had fully accepted it, I knew that Jesus died for my sins. There was nothing I could do to earn it or deserve it. Works don't save me. I knew all that stuff. But I hadn't put my full trust in God yet. And I hadn't really given him control of my life because I still wanted to control and I still wanted my way. But God softened my heart and I finally accepted it. And in case you don't know this message, it changed my life, so I'm gonna tell you. The true gospel is that we are sinners. And that might be hard for you to hear. For me, it was easy because I knew I was a messed up person. But I took that the wrong way. And I was like, I'm messed up, I'm terrible, I'm horrible. Why would God want me? But then I also wanted to earn my own salvation. And the truth is that the wages, the result of sin is death. That is the punishment for sin. And sin separates us from God because God is holy and God cannot be with sin because of his holy nature. And you might take offense to that, like, oh, God doesn't want to be with me because I don't meet his standards or whatever, which I kind of had the same thought. But the truth is, God wants to be with you. He wants an intimate relationship with you. So he had a plan all along to make that happen. So God the Father sent his son, Jesus Christ, to come to earth, fully man, fully God. He lived a perfect, sinless life, even though he was tempted in every way. In all the ways that we're tempted, he was tempted too, but he didn't sin. And he willingly died for us. And when he died, he took on all of our sin. And not only that, he rose again 3 days later, defeating death, hell, and the grave. And now we can all have community with God, and we can all have a deep relationship with God. And yes, that is the gospel, that Jesus came and died for our sins, but it's so much more than that. God gives us grace. Not only that when we mess up, like we're still gonna mess up, no one's perfect. When we mess up, God forgives us. Jesus already took that. Jesus already paid the price for our sin. He took on our sin. But not only did he take on what we have, he gave us all that he has. He gave us his authority. He gave us his power. He gave us his love. He gave us righteousness. He made us holy so we could be with him. And he loves you. And he thought this person is worth dying for. And no, we're not worthy on our own, but Jesus gives us worth. Jesus gives us value. And that's making me tear up because this is what changed my life. And I want you to know there's nothing you can do to earn it. God loves us so much, he graciously gives us this gift. And all we have to do is accept it. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord. I don't know the exact words, but I'll put it on the screen. And believe in your heart that he was raised from the dead. That's it. What I didn't get about it was that I didn't want to put trust in anyone but myself because I'm a perfectionist. I think that I know the best way. But once I put my trust in God, it was like a weight fell off my shoulders. I don't have to carry that. I don't have to carry the burden of sin. I don't have to carry the burden of my future. I don't have to carry the burden of my anxiety. I don't have to carry the burden of my fear of what people think about me. I used to care so much about what people thought of me that it was like I was enslaved. Like I couldn't be myself fully. It's because I didn't see myself the way God saw me. I didn't put God's thoughts above my own. His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And I didn't see it like that. And I didn't see that I have the power and the authority that Jesus had. I have worth now. I have value. And anyone who doesn't see that, who cares? I'm a child of God. God sees me. My Creator sees me for who I am. He accepts me. And that was just a powerful moment. But let's continue because some more crazy things happened that I would have never planned myself. Okay, April. Shortly after I had this transformation, some people from my old church were opening a beignet and coffee shop. And I needed a job. My money was running out. I think this was the week before my money was supposed to run out. My savings, at least. I mean, Hayden still had a job, but I wanted to get a job before my savings ran out. I don't think I applied yet, but we are going to visit them for their grand opening. And I prayed, I said, God, if you want me to work here, then let her ask me if I need a job. And then a few days later, I woke up hearing the numbers 348. I saw it in my mind and I was saying it like in my head. And I was like, that's weird. Like, what does that mean? Because that had never really happened to me before. And so I was like, this has to mean something. God speaks to me through dreams and visions. So I was like, this means something. So I wrote it down. I was looking up all these verses, 34:8, and I was like, why can't I find anything that makes sense? So that weekend was the grand opening. We went, and sure enough, the owner asks if I need a job, and I said, yes, I do. So I filled out an application, and then that next week, I had my interview. I'm done folding laundry. I can't focus on multiple things at one time. I thought it might help, but it didn't. At my interview, it went really well. I got a drink. I took it home. Didn't really pay attention to it for a while. And then I went to like throw the cup away and I looked at it and it was Psalm 34:8. I was like, why does this look familiar? Have I been reading Psalms 34 lately? And I was looking through all of my like previous Bible verses and stuff and no. But then I looked in my notes. And this is crazy too, because I didn't realize I had done this, but I had scheduled out my availability for work. This was before my interview. And underneath it was where I typed 348 that I had heard and seen when I woke up. And that was under my job. And so I went and looked at that and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same numbers. I just said them differently. And it's under work-related stuff. And I was like, this is a sign that I'm supposed to be working here. And so I got hired. I got trained to be a barista, which I didn't think I wanted to do. I thought maybe I could be serving and bussing tables. One of the girls, who I also kind of knew a little bit before from church, she said that she thought I'd actually like being a barista because I like order and how my brain works. And I tried it out and I loved it. It was like being creative at work and it was wonderful. I loved it. Also, while I was there, I made some friends. I really enjoyed working with everyone there, which I had never experienced before. Usually at work I had like 1 or 2 friends, but here like every single person I talked to, I loved. Like, it was a joy to be at work, not a burden. And it was just fun. And then a little bit later, someone threw out the idea of a Bible study, because we all started talking about how there are a few of us there who God speaks to us through dreams, and we have like the gift of discernment as well. And I was like, me too. So I was excited about that. And there was a girl who wanted to learn more about God, and so we made a Bible study for her, and I was so excited. And it was just really an answer to prayer. So if you know who you are, I pray for you. And I'm gonna cry, but I'm not gonna cry. Okay. Lots of crying in this video. Okay, I don't know where next to go from here. What happened this year? Craziness. Craziness is what happened. That fall, Hayden texted me randomly and said, "Do you want to move to New Zealand?" And I said, "Yes, I do," which was so random. And I don't know why I just said yes so fast. I had always wanted to go to Australia, but I hadn't really thought much about New Zealand. I know they're not the same place, and I was super excited. But I did ask Hayden why he wanted to move to New Zealand, and it was because of the weather. Neither of us had been outside the country. We didn't have passports, so we got our passports. They came in super fast. I was trying to keep it on the down low because when Texas happened, we told everybody. And there's a verse, it talks about our plans and how not to plan and say, this will happen, or I'll go live here in a year or for a year. I don't know, something about it was like very specific to our situation, and I was like, oh, sorry, Lord. So I said to say, if it's the Lord's will, let this happen. So that's what I was saying. I wasn't really telling many people. I told a few people, a lot less at least. It's hard for me to keep secrets when I'm excited. But I can keep a secret. So I just told like a few people that we were looking into it. So our passports came in, we applied for the year-long working holiday visa, and then we got accepted, and that was super exciting. And I was like, okay, this is actually happening now. I also forgot to mention that I had been wanting to do marriage counseling or a marriage class, because our marriage prep, it was only 1 session and it didn't go in depth as we had wanted. So Hayden agreed to go to this class at our church called Re-Engage, and I didn't realize how much I needed it. It really put some things to my attention. A couple things that I learned were you can't give to your spouse what you haven't received from God. And for me, that was that I hadn't fully received God's grace. So I had a hard time giving that to Hayden. And then also focus on doing positive things instead of not doing the negative things. And when you focus on doing the positive, you'll automatically do the negative things less. I don't know if anything else happened off the top of my head, but we're continuing. We're in the winter now. Hayden gets over $1,000 stolen from his bank account. And I was very angry. He was very angry. We didn't get it resolved. We tried multiple times. And for some reason, they said we couldn't prove anything. We did everything we could. We don't know how it happened, but it did. So Hayden closed down that bank account, and we were out just about $2,000. It made me angry because Hayden is so generous to everybody. Like, if you go out to eat with him, 9 times out of 10 he's gonna pay for your food. And I don't tell you that so that you can take advantage of him, but I just want to say how generous he is. And then this happens, and I'm like, this has to be an attack from the enemy, because he knows how generous Hayden is and is trying to take from him. But the whole time I was like, what the enemy meant for evil, God's gonna turn it for good. And I kept believing that, and I kept saying that. I also had a feeling that something good was coming. And I didn't know when or what it was, but I knew something good was coming. I could feel it in my spirit. So we go out of town for New Year's to go to my sister-in-law's wedding and my other sister-in-law's wedding reception. And Hayden was sick the whole time. He had the flu, but that wasn't all that happened. Hayden got an email but that he didn't notice until the end of our trip because he was sick, so he wasn't looking at his email. He saw an email that said someone had bought a game on his PlayStation. It wasn't with his card, it was with a different card. And so Hayden was like, I'm really scared someone broke into our house. And I was like, no, someone didn't break into our house. Like, we'll figure it out. So we got home and our front door was unlocked and I think open. PlayStation was gone and one of our bikes was gone. So someone had definitely broken into our house. We filed a police report. Then I was very paranoid after that. I was concerned someone might come back. I was always looking out the windows, and I was in my backyard with the blinds open, and some guy just walks into our backyard. And so I whip out my phone, my dog's barking, I take a video, and I make eye contact with the guy. I'm like, what are you doing? He walks out. I didn't call the police because he didn't take anything and I didn't think they would do anything about it. And he was walking away, so I didn't know if they'd be able to catch him or anything. So he walks into the front yard, walks to our neighbor's house, looks around. I'm still looking at him out the window. He turns the opposite direction and walks away. I told Hayden about it. He said, you shouldn't be telling me, you should be telling the police. And I'm like, it's too late now. He left, which by the time the police had come, he would have been gone anyway. Then on Monday, I have a strong urge to look out the window, and there was the guy in the front yard with our bike. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave it a cliffhanger, and I'm gonna say, if you want the full story, subscribe, and I'll tell you, because this is technically 2024 now, and it was supposed to be a 2023 testimony. So I will tell you how this got resolved, if this got resolved, in the next video. And the resolution, God did some good. God did some good, let me tell you. We got some blessings. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know God's gonna do a lot more this year, and I'm super excited, and I'm just so thankful. I'm crying again. Comment if you want to see a full testimony, like so far, of my life starting from the very beginning. Comment what you think happened with the guy, and yeah, I don't know how to end this, but I just want to say you were created with a purpose and you are adored by God. I'm crying.